want to welcome you to the Bloom Effect. I am Ladikreyol, and today I am going to be joined by a very special guest today. Just to let you know, the Bloom Effect is your space for all things Black books, Black stories, and the people who bring them to life. And one of the people who brings some of our favorite stories to life is Miss M. Monique. Welcome, 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 ma'am.
Hey, girl.
So excited to have you here.
Glad
So
to
the
be here.
Yes, yes, yes. So the way that this goes is there are four segments where we talk about the spark, what got you into writing, your origin story, your vision, your craft, what is going into building the reader experience, then the bloom, which is the stories you tell, and then we'll talk about the ripple, which is your legacy and your future. So let's get into it. Your spark. What was the light bulb moment that pushed you from writing for yourself to writing for readers?
So I tell this story as often as I can because it's truly a testimony, honestly. I got sick and I've been a writer my entire life. I started writing like short stories and things like that as a kid when I was in high school, things like that. But I've always had this vision of my name being on the book spine. Always. And just never I have such an anxious spirit.
Mhm.
Even from a kid, I've always been very anxious. But anytime I sought out to write, to fully write or finish anything, chaos would happen in my life. So I just figured it wasn't my path, right? But I ended up getting sick in 2019. And by then I had already completed some books, but um they were like kind of completed, like halfway completed, or I would pick them up, put them down. I say all the time that Gata and Stefan from A Thug Has Feelings Too and A Baller Has Feelings Too, they've been with me since I was 17 years old. I've picked up and put down their books several times since I was 17 to the time they were published. Um but it I got sick and I had to go sit down in my bed. And I remember before I even sat down in my bed, when I knew I had to have surgery, um, I told God, if you wake me up out of this, okay. I had surgery in July 2019. Everything February 2019. Everything went fine, but then I had to have it again later on in 2019. So I was real freaking out right there. Right? Oh my God, what's going on? Um, but I told him if he woke me up, I'll walk in my purpose. That was November 2019. I published my first book in March 2020. This is where Monique started because before that I was playing and I wasn't living life. Like I wasn't, mind you, I worked in healthcare, which is my most favorite passion after writing, career wise. I love medicine. But yeah, that wasn't the space for me. Actually, I did go to school to be a nurse, and he set me down from that too. What's going on? I don't know. Got sick and couldn't pursue that. So I stopped going to school. I had to. I dropped out. I was having so many panic attacks, and it was just the stress of it all, and it was just too much. Mind you, I've been doing this since I was 19. Like it's not stressful for me to be in medicine, but that just wasn't my path. And here I am. Here
I
I
love
am.
that. I love that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we know exactly where we want to be, and
Yeah.
then God says, nope, let's
Yeah.
go this way.
Yeah.
I get
Yep.
it.
Yep.
So before you begin each book, how do
Mhm.
you maintain your overall vision for your career as an author?
Oh, I want people to be able to pick up an Monique book and say, I know this is Monique. Regardless of what genre I choose to dabble in, I want you to know that it's an Monique book. Um, I want I just my vision for it all is just for me to have this world of books that are cohesive in nature, but like still separate, like my Smith family, but you can still see the dynamics in the summer series. You know what I'm saying? You can still see the dynamics in Dr. Bell. in Niceville Shores. Um, that's my vision. Like I just want people to know like this is encompassing everything about me value wise. My the way I love family, the way I love love and loyalty amongst friendships and family members. So yeah, that's my vision.
I got you. I got you. So when it comes to your craft and building the reader's experience,
Mhm.
how would you describe your writing voice and what makes it distinctly yours? You talked about the family,
Yes.
you talked about those things, but what
Yes.
makes your voice distinctly yours? Like whenever somebody opens up, it's like, oh, I feel in Monique in this story right here.
So I'm definitely giving you all of my Florida vibes when you open my book. Like you gonna hear you gonna look, you just have to say, are you going okay, so I've tried to scale back in my in the way I come across because I really do write the way I talk. But that's just what I feel like. If I tell you my character is from Florida, and if I tell you he's if I tell you from Florida, I want you to sound. I know what we sound like. I know what we talk like. I know how we move. You know what I'm saying? And the when I think about, because from a reader standpoint, as an avid reader, I love picking up a book and someone saying, "Hey, this character is from New York," but I hear the New York. I feel the New York vibes. I feel like I just stepped into New York City or the Bronx, or I stepped into Brooklyn because those little nuances.
How do you keep your world's relationships, plot lines grounded while still giving readers escapism?
It's just my love for reading something that is, although could be a little far-fetched, that's still relatable. That's still, what I'm saying? Everybody wants to experience a family or be in a family that has this loyalty about them. Everybody wants to, what I'm saying, have these type of dynamics within friendships and within relationships. And I love it. Like I love being able to write about this. So when I do give the unimaginable or the far-fetched, I still
Mhm.
like to give it with that deep those deep things that can be or should be, or that are possible. You know what I'm saying? Because I think there is a such thing as love at first sight. I think there is a such thing as, what I'm saying, 30-year marriages that have made it without the foolery of it all. You know what I'm saying? Like I do believe in
Mhm.
these things. So um that's what I love to write. And even if the plot can be a little far-fetched, the core of it is this is what could be.
When it comes to love in general, we don't always get
Right.
the fairy tales that we
Correct.
have a tendency to only see in movies. And they do exist. We always hear about how the 30-year
Hmm.
marriages and 20-year
Hmm.
marriages and 40-year marriages
Correct.
went through all hell and high water. But
Right.
there are some marriages that were just loving. And
Yeah.
I would love to hear more of those. So having that
Yeah.
form of escapism is
Hmm.
really important for me.
Right. 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 Same. Same.
So speaking of reader escapism,
Mhm.
how have your readers impacted you the most on your author journey?
I mean, the support has been crazy. I feel like, right, as a writer, of course, everyone has their opinion of your work, but the amount of support that I've received, whether the character was likable or not, whether the plot was likable or not, it's the fact that I gave them a story, and they were able to read it and enjoy it, despite whatever was in between that cover and in the back. So my thing is that I just want to give good stories, and the
Mhm.
readers, I started off not even knowing where I was going after I wrote those first 4 books. I didn't know where I was going. being completely honest, I had no idea. But once one book came, then another story came. The inspiration just continues to come. This is my thing about purpose. When you walk in your purpose, you get a lot of organic inspiration, and that's what I get. Every story that I have, I was given because I literally either slept, fell asleep,
Mm-hmm.
or cleaning up or something like that. Like just getting organic inspiration. Um, or just being inspired by music. Music is another thing I'm inspired by. Um, but majority of the time, I do what I feel because I know if I can feel it, I can make the readers feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like I can almost make the readers feel it. So the readers mean a lot because the feedback has been great. Even when the feedback has been constructive criticism, I took that, you know what I'm saying? And I understood that. I can see growth from the Smith series versus the Summer series versus Dr. Bell. Um, so, and it's all because of the readers and seeing, yes, I like to give my voice and I like to, let the readers, I do pay attention to a lot of things. Now, honestly, I don't like to do trends, but I like stories like the kidnapping trope, for instance. I love me a kidnapping trope.
Yes,
So,
put us in the
so,
trunk.
so, so if readers, say, "Hey, Monique, da 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 da, can you give us A, B, C, and D?" If it naturally comes to me to give that, I will. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because hey, why not? But I love the readers and how they support. Not just me, but indie authors in general, Black indie authors. I've the way it has massively grown in these last, I want to say 6 years, has been tremendous, and that's coming from a person who's always who's read a lot of books. I know a good 800 to 1,000. I'm probably up there. I'm probably up there. Um, and it wasn't just our books. It was a variety. But since I've been on this side, yeah, it's up there. And just, just loving to see how, readers have had an impact on how well indie authors um can, navigate
Yeah,
this industry, independently and forces, still be forces to
I feel that. I feel
yeah.
that because y'all are a force to be reckoned
Mhm,
with. Like y'all
mhm,
know when it comes to Black
yeah.
indie authors, like I really love how you guys go hard for your craft,
Mhm,
and the readers they love that
mhm,
as well.
mhm,
So speaking of the stories that you tell and wanting
mhm,
your readers to feel that and being a part of your journey, some of
mhm,
us have been with you from the very beginning, from the Smiths to the Summers to the
mhm,
Steels to the
mhm.
Bells.
Yeah.
Let's get into the bloom about these
Okay.
stories. So
Okay.
what's your approach to making them real, layered, and emotionally honest? That is something that I love about the men in your books, like the
Mhm,
emotional honesty.
mhm.
Chef's kiss.
So, my brother is 3 years older than I am. I have men who I actually can tie to these things. Um, so I have a brother. I have a cousin that you know, that I always kind of pick on because he is the epitome of emotional intelligence and and he's a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I've known this man since I was 17. He's my cousin's husband. And I remember, y'all, this is so crazy. I remember when I used to before I was before I was in the medical streets and before I was in the urban streets, I was in the hair streets. I used to do hair. I used to braid. And anytime I would do my cousin's hair, he would be with her. He would come with her to get her hair done. And I'm telling you, the way he used to dote on her and the way he would just, what I'm saying, cater to her. And I would like take a break, come back. Sitting in his lap, like laying all on him. And I'm like, dang, can y'all stop? Like, I'm trying to do your hair, girl. Like, But now as an adult, like the older I got, the more I understood this is black love right here. Like it's so amazing to see their relationship. It is so
Mhm.
amazing to know this man has been through the trenches. Do you understand? Like he's been in the trenches and now he's in, fields of green. You know what I'm saying? Like it's amazing to know what God can do in people's lives. That their situation and their love is just what I was able to experience and see. So that's how I know it's possible. You girl, look, to be to be told by a man that you have never met before. This is why it's ain't all look, yes, and he now I gotta give it to him. He was probably a little bit delusional.
Not
But
delusional.
when I tell you it's not far-fetched for a man to see you, walk up to you, and tell you you're gonna be his wife. And for you to look at him and say, you crazy. Because I don't even know you. But this is exactly how these two people met. This is
And you didn't put
exactly how
that
they
book.
listen, listen. When his mama approached her. His mama approached her first, my cousin, and said, you gonna marry my son. Now it's 1,000 people in the building, but you singled out this one girl. She said, you gonna marry my husband. And my cousin, like, I don't even know your son. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't even know your son. And time goes by. This man approached her and says, "You gonna be my wife." And she like, "I don't know you." And then she sees that that's his mama. You see,
Look,
and
speaking it into existence, bringing it about, mama
when I
co-signing,
tell you,
everybody's in it.
when I
Listen,
tell you, their story is a story. That's what I mean. It's beautiful. They're a beautiful couple. Like my cousin, she gave me the blueprint for what for just how to let a man lead. You know what I'm saying? Like she gives the blueprint on how to, you know what I'm saying, let him love you. And you can be in your soft girl, you can be a boss. My cousin is a doctor. She wasn't a doctor at the time, but she's a doctor now. But
mhm.
the way she's always in her soft girl with this man
I know that's
is
right.
crazy to me. And he don't play about that woman. All right. He don't play about his kids. You see, like
And I get
I
it
just love
because, like,
that.
when you read your stories,
Yeah.
you see the same things from the
Yeah.
characters you give us.
Yeah.
No matter how hard they are in the
Mhm.
streets, no matter how hard they go
Mhm.
for their hustle,
Mhm.
they all give soft gentlemen to their
Yeah,
wives, to their
that is my
girlfriends, to
cousin.
their children. They
Mhm.
show up in
Mhm.
ways that most women want their men to show up.
Mhm. Mhm.
Absolutely love that. And speaking of
Yep.
showing up,
Mhm.
let's talk about this Love Me Now series
Okay.
that you just dropped. Now,
Girl,
now,
girl, girl.
there have been some dynamics that
Mhm.
really stood out to me amongst this series,
Mhm.
from Baltimore to
Mhm.
Antonius to
Mhm.
Adrian. Like,
Mhm.
I love the differences in all three, but they also
Mhm.
have some compatibilities.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a moment, but I want to
Mhm.
talk about Baltimore and Madeline first
Yeah. Yeah.
because this stood out the most. You gave us an
Okay.
age gap where the
Yes.
woman is older
Mhm.
and the man is younger.
Mhm.
And it's not that he's in his 20s and
Mhm.
she's in her 30s.
Mhm.
It is that she is in her 40s and he's in
Mhm.
his 30s. And we
Mhm.
know that that is a very different dynamic in
It
life.
is.
Your frontal lobe is developed.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
are experienced in the world a bit more.
Mhm.
So you've seen some things, you know some
Yeah.
things. This is
Yeah.
very opposite of what podcasts
Yeah.
tend to tell us.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
What made you pick their love story as an age gap story for
So when
Baltimore
I
and Madeline?
when I wrote Madeline's story, I knew that she was going to be with Cooley, but I knew he was younger, But at the same time, I said this is a perfect opportunity to show the dynamic of, a man who is well aware of himself, what he wants. He's older. He's not really concerned about anything other than, the things he knows he wants out of life.
Mhm.
And, you know, I feel like I gave her sometimes when you feel like you've lost so much, but what you gain is tenfold. I wanted to do
Mhm.
that for Madeline because, you know, what she went through in Dr. Bell. And not just for her, but for Air, you know, because in the beginning, at the end of Dr. Bell, I wasn't sure how I could swing their story and still make it relatable. But with Baltimore, I knew he's just a grown and sexy. Like even how he handled the whole situation of letting her leave her daughter's dorm. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't make a scene. He didn't do anything. He just let her walk away. And I feel like that's what any mature man should let a woman do is walk away. If I don't want to be in this situation, just let me walk away. Let's leave it at that. Let him walk away. But I knew he was perfect for her. I wanted readers to see how soft she could be, even in her trauma. How happy she could still find happiness after all the trauma she had experienced. Even with the baby, I know that. Listen, I know that was a shocker because who is gonna raise?
Who? Who, child? With the price of formula? Who?
But adding that little layer of her dreaming about holding Genesis or dreaming about naming him or his name being Genesis, because sometimes it takes us having a little dose of inspiration to be able to pull off the things we normally wouldn't be able to. Um, I know of stories in the Bible where God will tell them to go do something, and they like, but how am I gonna do it if you ain't gave me the resources? But
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Sometimes he'll tell you to go, and you just got to go and trust whatever is on that path. He already made a way for. So sometimes we just need that little dose of inspiration, and that's what I wanted to give Maddie, so she could do things in love and not in operate in any other form of either jealousy or envy or strife. Just operate in love because let's be for real, it's stepmamas that ain't stepmama and
Hello.
stepdaddies that ain't stepdaddy in because of these little you know demons of not properly loving another individual because of jealousy or things like that. So I didn't want her to have any of those. Even losing her own son, not wanting her to compare Genesis and DJ. Just being able to separate the fact that she lost a son, but that she's still able to love one that's not hers,
Right.
technically.
Right.
So, and I knew Baltimore was, he was there for the ride. He knew what was going on. Um,
And I
he was
love that
protecting her.
he was there for the ride because
Mhm.
Antonius was totally different.
Yeah,
He was he was he was all on Bianca for the
yeah,
longest time. And then he was
yeah,
like, you know what? It's time to get
yeah,
off this ride.
yeah,
Because in the words of my grandparents,
yeah.
either shit or get off the pot.
Exactly.
Antonius was like, I'm ready to go. I'm
He
ready to
was
go.
done playing, and she had to grow up and get with it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I appreciate you for caving Bianca's chest in.
Mhm.
And making her yearn in the way that she did. Why was it
Yeah.
so important for Bianca to see what it's like to lose the love of your life because you were playing games?
I feel like we always do that with the men. We always show where a man played in your face, and then once he lost you, we let his chest get caved in. So why we can't do that for the woman too? Bianca had plenty of time to have what was hers from the beginning, but she played. So showing that how serious he was, because this man said he getting older, he ain't got time, you know what I'm saying, to be
Right,
playing. And for him to still choose her despite what happened to her, he still chose her because that's who
right,
he loved. So that was even more of a layer to prove that this man really loved this woman. Like regardless of what's happened, we still gonna be together. But I needed her to feel the pain of that loss because otherwise she would have still played with him at some point. She's mm-mm. I need you to know this man is serious. He
hmm
ready to have him a wife and he ready to have him some kids. He ready to settle down. And since you don't want that, let's give it to somebody else.
I know that's
Mhm.
right. I know that's
Mhm.
right. And speaking of
Yeah.
playing in faces, we
Mhm.
know that Adrian plays all day. all day. He was probably the most layered of all three of these men in Love Me Now. He was funny. He was the professional. He was the father. He was the husband. He was, I will body your baby daddy if I have
Yeah.
to. Why
Yeah.
was it so important to make Adrian the way that he was, to have so many layers? Like, he was the culmination of all of these men. Why was
Yeah.
his buildup and development so important?
He is considered, I would call him a quiet storm. He is like the one who don't really say much, but he do a lot. And if he does say something that's funny, he's serious, but he's funny. And that's what I liked about Adrian too, because I remember when Bianca described him in Dr. Bell, how he was mean. She said, my brother mean, and the office is much more calmer now since he's gone, because everybody just
Right.
know when he here, he's serious and he mean business. But on the flip side of that, he knew how to, be funny. He knew how to be charismatic. He knew how to do all these things to be able to get Kwame where he wanted her. And I just felt like that's his whole persona. Like, I don't know. I just loved him so much. I loved him too because he didn't waste any time with her once he got her. Like, he didn't
He
waste
did not.
the time.
Like, look up, there we are.
and it's just, and he didn't waste any time. That's the thing about some storms. Like, they can come and be gone in seconds. A tornado, for sure. And I felt like that's what he was in the right situations. When he got her, he was like, you know what, it's all or nothing. When he had to go handle that man, it wasn't, oh, I'm gonna give you a day to think about it. I'm coming to you tonight. We ain't gonna have no conversations. It just is what it is. And I love how he handled that. I love
Yes,
how he handled
yes.
that whole
He did
situation.
it good.
He
He
did
did a
good.
really good
And
job.
he
Like,
contained himself. Like, he really contained himself. But the whole conversation that he had when he was standing down at watching that man.
listen. Don't give it away. Don't give it away. Y'all gotta read it. Because Adrian is a fool.
My God, that man. But yeah, he was definitely great to write. Great to write. Yes.
So let's get into the ripple, your legacy
Mhm.
and your
Mhm.
future.
Mhm.
How do you stay inspired as your platform, your audience, and your catalog continue to grow?
I do a lot of self-reflection, and I do a lot of I sleep on a lot of ideas. I really pour myself into my work.
Mhm.
And it's not just because I'm an author, it's because I love to read and I love to tell stories for people to read. I know how blessed I am in this area that I'm in. I know this is my purpose. And look, I know the Bible says if you don't use it,
You're
he'll
gonna
give it
lose
to
it.
somebody else. And it's like, nope, I got it on lockdown. Just, the more you continue to inspire me to write, the longer I'm gonna write. But I have bigger dreams. I have even bigger dreams than where I am currently. Um, I want to see Monique and USA Today in the same sentence. I want to see Monique and New York Times in the same sentence. You know what I'm saying? I want to see Monique and on somebody, what I'm saying, Book of the Month club. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Just anything. Like, I love that. I love that for myself, and knowing that I can potentially get there. Um, I do what I can to work on what I do. I'm not just that person who thinks I can write a book, so I don't need to learn new things, or I don't need to know new things. I pour a lot into myself as a person and myself as an author, so that I can continue to give good stories and continue to, what I'm saying, build upon the things that I've already done. Branching out into new, what I'm saying, genres. Um, I've had a
Speaking
taste
of,
of that. Yeah, go ahead.
go ahead. No, you're good.
Mhm.
I was gonna say, speaking of branching into
Mm,
new genres,
mm,
what would you say is next for you on the horizon for brand expansions, new genres, new books? What is new with you? And I know you alluded to it online, you posted about it online, and
yes,
I'm just excited for you. But for
yes.
those who have not seen it, what's
Hmm.
going to be new, because you decided to spit out new genres? I want
I
you to
do.
talk about that.
All right. So a few years ago, I don't know. Nope. I'm gonna post it one day so I can get the receipts. A few years ago, I was actually in collaboration with another author to do a paranormal. The book has been written most of the way through. Because I love urban romance, but I also love paranormal. I also
Mm-hmm.
love a lot of other things. And I knew when I came into writing, I said this to many people. I'm not going to be forced into a box. So I knew that I was going to, branch out. Suspense. I love romantic suspense. That's why you see me operating that lane a lot, because that's my core. That's
Mm-hmm.
what made me fall in love the most with reading, is reading romantic suspense. Um, I do want to do contemporary at some point, but definitely paranormal. Um, and shoot, I can't say that that's not part of what I love, because I feel like when you write urban and you throw in some of these paranormal aspects of it all, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we got men's that be doing some stuff they ain't, no human should be doing. But but wholeheartedly, I'm just a writer at heart. I'm not a one trick type of person. I love to write in general. I have children's books, 10 of them. Okay, I have
Wait, you
10
got
of them.
children's books?
I
How I didn't
do.
know that? Wait
Cuz I
a
don't I
minute.
don't talk about it, but this is pointing to, the creative in me. I just don't do, one thing. I love to do multiple things. And it may seem chaotic to other people, but really and truly, this is stuff I've been working on for years, since I
Mm-hmm.
was in high school. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just here now. And the road I traveled, yes, I started the Smith series. So of course, when you start a series, you don't want to leave people on the cliffhanger. You don't want to leave a series until you're fully done. So that's how I've been pushed into these same, you know what I'm saying, that's why things get pushed back. Okay, so 4 years ago, I had a whole paranormal I was working on, but what happened? What happened to it? Why didn't it get put out? Da 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 da. Uh, a Widow Scars came. The summer series came. These are things that got in, kind of pushed other things to the back burner, because those were what I had going right then.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I'm indie and I get the opportunity to do a lot of things, or I have more time to, sit and just sit with myself and my thoughts,
Uh-huh.
this is what happens. Creatives create. So this is how new genres, not I'm not even gonna say new. This is how I'm operating in places that I've always been operating in. It's just that y'all haven't seen it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that I
Right.
just
It'll
woke
be
up one
new
morning
to
and was
us.
like, so that's how we get here, because it's just y'all, it's new to everybody else. It ain't new to me. All right. It's not new to me. So
Gotcha.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
Mhm,
So I want to ask, what do
mhm,
you have coming up? What events do you have coming up? I know you have your own event.
mhm.
Um, Talk a little bit about what you're doing with
Okay.
your event and where everyone can spot you next year.
Okay. So I will be hosting Urban Lit Exhibition 850 in Pensacola, Florida, August 1st and 2nd. Lord have mercy. Um, I will also be at Southern Hearts and Signed Kisses in October of 2026. And I will be at Black Romance Book Fest 2026. Y'all, 3 events so far. I'm shooting for a fourth. We shall see. But that's where I will be next year so far. Um, so yeah.
Okay, okay. Love it. Love it.
Mhm.
I get to see you at least twice next year, so
Yes,
I'm
yes,
excited about that.
yes.
Now, the last question that I do ask all the
Mhm,
authors, I want you to think about this. What ripple
mhm.
do you hope your work leaves behind in the indie author world, or even in the literary world?
That I tell great stories. Um, that I'm a great storyteller. Um, and I know that sounds very large, but I strive to be a great storyteller, not just a writer or an author, but a great storyteller. I want you to read my books and feel like you're watching a movie, a great movie at that. Like, I want you to read my books and feel like you want to hop in this book and help so and so dispose of so and so. Like, I really,
Mhm.
you know, yeah. When that man kissed that woman, I want you to be like, dang, I feel like he just kissed me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want y'all to feel these characters and have lasting characters. You know what I'm saying? Like Blue. Blue is who I am attached to, and he's attached to me. Um, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with people saying, "Oh, she wrote Blue." I'm okay with that, guys. I'm okay with that. Please, you know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, I just wanted to be. She was a great storyteller. She is a great storyteller. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank
This
you
has
for
been a
having
fun
me.
experience. Yes, yes. So, to my audience, you've just experienced the Bloom Effect, where we honor the authors, readers, and visionaries like Miss M. Monique, who are building the future of Black literature. Carry this energy forward, share the stories, champion the voices, and be a part of the legacy. Until we meet again, keep blooming boldly in your own chapter. Thank you.
Thank you.